I'm pretty sure you've heard of Judy Garland, and if the name doesn't sound familiar, I'm pretty sure you're familiar with her work. She did cult classics like The Wizard of Oz. That's the only one I know off the top of my head. I haven't seen much Judy Garland movies. But the interesting thing is, Judy Garland is actually from Grand Rapids. Not Michigan, if you're thinking Grand Rapids, Michigan, but Grand Rapids, Minnesota. I'm from Minnesota. I actually live like about an hour away from, an hour or two away from Grand Rapids. And like I've been to Grand Rapids multiple times. I just never went to the museum. Um, where Judy Garland, like the Judy Garland Museum is. Um, and so today, I decided to go to check out what it was, because I was talking with people who online who wouldn't really say they're like my online friends, because most of them don't even know my real name. Most of you watching this probably don't even know my real name, and I mention it very few times. Uh, but I was talking with some people online about Minnesota and like how Judy Garland, who played Dorothy in The Wizard of Oz, was from Grand Rapids, Minnesota, and how I've been there a few times and never actually went to the museum. And so they were like, "Oh, you should go." So it's like, "All right, I'm gonna go." Went today. I hate that my lights do that for some reason. So let's talk about what it was. So basically, you walk in, and it's like Wizard of Oz references. Like you walk on a yellow brick road. I did not take much pictures. I took a few, not much. Should have taken more, and even then I couldn't really show it because I'm just doing this on the camera app. But it was really interesting to go there. Like going through, it was a lot more like kiddie than I thought it would be. It kind of reminded me of the Wida Pirate Museum, which I'd be pretty surprised if you've heard of the Wida. But it was this pirate ship that sank off the coast of Cape Cod. Now, I actually went to the Wida Pirate Museum while I was in Cape Cod because, well, we saw it there, and so we went to it. It was a really cool museum. If you're ever in the area, go to the Wida Pirate Museum. And, like, I even noticed some Wida Pirate Museum memorabilia while in either Boston or Salem. I can't remember where it was. But now that all the photos are developed, I can show you one of the Wida Pirate Museum in question. There it is. That's what the outside looked like. Anyway, I'm going a bit off topic, but I brought it up because it also felt like it was pretty kiddie, but also a little more adult. Because, like, pirates have kind of become a popular thing among kids a bit, like with all the TV shows that are to do with pirates that kids like. But like Judy Garland Museum was definitely more conflicting in that regard, because it's like there was a part of it just for like young children. There was a learning part for young children. The gift shop was literally called Judy Garland Children's Center, was it? I can't remember. But it was a little conflicting in that regard. And so basically, let's get into the actual tour. It's a self-guided one. You walk in, and then there's memorabilia of like stuff Judy Garland did. There's Didn't say whether or not it was a replica or the original, but like the carriage that Dorothy rode in The Wizard of Oz, it was either a replica in there or the original. I assume it was a replica, and that the original was either destroyed or is in some sort of museum in Hollywood. Now, there was other stuff, and like there was the actual red slippers that she wore. Now there were 4 pairs made for The Wizard of Oz. One of them was in the Judy Garland Museum, and said pair was stolen in 2005. Thieves broke in. They did find out who it was, and they did get them back, by the way. Can't remember the thief's name, but they broke into the museum there and stole the slippers in 2005. And eventually, in 2018, it was recovered by the FBI and returned right to the museum. So good, that's good. But there are 3 other pairs. I can't remember where they all are though. And so then like the records hanging on the wall that Judy Garland did. I didn't even know she did like vinyl records and such. And it also mentions stuff like with her knowing Frank Sinatra, which I did not know. Because like I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. Like I only have one Frank Sinatra album. I do kind of want to get more because Sinatra had a really great voice. But yeah, that's pretty cool. So, after like you got into that main area, then you would go through a door that led out to her house. And it was really cool to see it. And it screamed old house because the floorboards were so creaky. Again, I didn't get much pictures of there either. And I should have. But like on the way there, it told the story of her a bit. And like how she got addicted to drugs a bit. And like when she was 14, I think she was taking antidepressants or something. And so like she kind of got addicted to that for years. And eventually when she was 47. 47. Eventually when she was 47, she like intentionally overdosed while she was in London. So that's pretty sad. So, after you leave the house, you go back down and you go through another hallway, and that leads right back to where you started. There's the gift shop, and then there was one part that intrigued me. I took a picture of it, although with the way that this camera system is set up, you're not going to be able to see it very well, I don't think. Let me try. There we go. Now, from this angle, again, you can't really see it, but there's one portrait of a familiar face right here. Now, let me turn up the brightness. Now, I'd be surprised if you know who that is, especially from the picture that I took. But I know who he is, and most people my generation, and even like most millennials, don't even know who he is. It's mainly Gen X and boomers. Andy Williams. Yeah, you probably don't. His name probably isn't familiar. But I'm certain this album is familiar to you. Really? No? Okay, I'm lost. But, yeah, Andy Williams did this album, and, like, he did the song It's the Most Wonderful Time of the Year. So that's probably where you've seen this from. Anyway, I was wondering why there was just a photo of him there. It said honored in 2011, and I was like, what does that mean? So I looked it up. Here's something cool. Andy Williams invited Judy Garland onto the Andy Williams Show in 1965, and I actually watched the episode after leaving the museum, where Judy Garland was on it. And it was pretty interesting. And it's like, yeah, she was on the Andy Williams Show. And so, like, they knew each other, and in 2011, Andy Williams was in Grand Rapids, Minnesota for the annual Judy Garland parade, was it, I think? I'll have to look at the article I found again. So, Andy Williams to be honored at this festival, this weekend at the Judy Garland Festival. By the way, this is an article from 2011. Young Andy Williams spent time in Judy Garland's presence after she stepped off the yellow brick road. As a teen, the pop singer was a member of the chorus for various Garland film projects at Metro Goldwyn Mayer, where she had gone after her shed sister, after I'm just skipping that. Like everybody in the world, I thought she was the greatest thing, Williams said in a recent phone interview from Branson, Missouri. She was absolutely wonderful. Williams, 83, will receive a Lifetime Achievement Award during the 36th Annual Judy Garland Festival this weekend in Grand Rapids, Minnesota. Again, 2011. He will appear for the book signing from 12:30 to 1:30 Friday at the Judy Garland Historic House, and later that night will be honored at Wendigo Lodge, where he will show footage of Garland when she appears on the Andy Williams Show in the 60s. Williams refused to tell any anecdotes about Garland, who was born Frances Ethel Gum in 1922 and lived in Grand Rapids until 1926. The Judy Garland Festival starts today and runs through Saturday. It includes a party for Wizard of Oz, Munchkin Cow Silver, and a showing of Garland's gowns by collector Michael Seward, and a strange production of Meet Me in St. Louis by the Grand Rapids Players. Coordinator John Kelch said the festival's boards gives the award to stars who worked with Garland. We've decided to go with Andy because he worked with Judy on television, he said. Past award winners have included Mickey Rooney, June Allison, and Margaret Hamilton, the Wicked Witch of the West. Last year's winner was Jane Powell. Each of the recipients has traveled to Grand Rapids for the festival to receive the award. Williams is the keeper of the records for the recordings of the variety show he hosted for about 10 years. Yes, including a steady stream of A-list talent, Bobby Darin, Bing Crosby, Bob Hope, and more. This gig in Grand Rapids has been a chance to go through old footage. I'm always surprised at how good it is, Williams says. How the quality of it is. The sound of the video and everything. Since I own all the shows, I took very good care of them. I had them cleaned up, as they say. Made them digitized so that the sound and picture is very clear, and looks like it was just yesterday. Williams has the Moon River Theater in Branson, where he will perform with Anne Margaret in the fall and then do a run of his annual Christmas show. He keeps up with the pop music scene and claims to like Kanye West, Michael Bublé, Taylor Swift, and Justin Bieber. I did not know that part. Apparently, Andy Williams liked Taylor Swift and Justin Bieber. When it comes to what he was like when performing with singers he had looked up to when he was in the early part of his career, Williams compares himself to a recent winner on the reality TV show America's Got Talent. In retrospect, it reminded me of Scotty, who won American Idol, he said. 17 years old and acted like he was 90. He acted like he belonged there. He did a duet with Tim McGraw, and he just was like Tim McGraw. He was He was just like he was as good as Tim McGraw. 2 years ago, Williams published a memoir, Moon River and Me, which, by the way, I intend to get, in which he revisited his life from his childhood in small town Iowa to singing at Bobby Kennedy's funeral, to his ex-wife Claudine Lodgett, mother of 3 children, who was convicted of misdemeanor negligent homicide in the Olympic skier Spider Savage in 19. I did not know that his wife was convicted of manslaughter, of homicide, negligent homicide. I just thought she cheated on him. That's the only thing I ever heard. It also has a few Garland moments. It was easy to write about Judy Garland, he said. She was funny and had a great sense of humor, and she had talent that just bubbled over. So yeah, that's the article I found. I'll leave a link to it in the description. So after I saw the Andy Williams thing, kind of went off on a tangent a little bit, I went to the gift shop and I was like, you know what? I want to get something. And there were records that Judy Garland had made. Now, they were not reproductions. When I say they were old, I mean they're old. Because a lot of the stuff is actually donated there. And like one part of the museum had said how some of the movie posters there were donated by a guy just this year. And I'll grab the records. These are the ones that seemed most interesting to me. Cut outtakes from Hollywood Greatest Musicals: Judy Garland, Fred Astaire, June Allison, Alice Faye, Betty Grable, Judy Holliday, Jack Nicholson, and Debbie Reynolds. So, I will say this. Some of the names you probably haven't even heard of. I know of Fred Astaire. I looked him up once. He did a song, I think it was Putting on the Ritz, or was that someone else? Might have been someone else. But like I heard it in a compilation. Like, I looked him up because I saw a compilation of songs that had a song of his in it. Now this one is Judy Garland, Gene Kelly, Frank Sinatra, Bing Crosby, Betty Hutton, Mickey Rooney, Gloria Dedeby, Catherine Gray, and Grayson. Frank Sinatra, already brought him up, and Bing Crosby, not as well known as Frank Sinatra, but still pretty well known. Which actually, earlier today I got a Bing Crosby record. It's a 78, and I'm too lazy to grab it out because it's from the 78 cabinet I have, so I'm not grabbing it out. I'm lazy. So yeah, that was the Judy Garland Museum. So if you're ever in Grand Rapids, Minnesota, you gotta go there. Even though it is a little kiddie, it's interesting because of the history and learning about one of the biggest parts of Hollywood. Like, without her, there's no Dorothy and Wizard of Oz. Without Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz, there's no Wizard of Oz. Without a Wizard of Oz, there's no Technicolor. You get where I'm going. So, I'm going to wrap this up, and goodbye. Oops.